Hey, good morning everyone. How's it going today? So what am I working on now? KIA Forte. Now this one's not a coolant leak. It's not a head gasket. At least I don't think it is. Customer's complaint is that it's misfiring, shaking, not running right. Lack of power, stuff like that. Apparently it was somewhere else. And apparently they did coils or something and it didn't fix the problem. So let's look into it and see what we got. Came in yesterday in the afternoon. I have not done anything to it. I don't know anything about it other than, like I said, misfires. Oops. I don't know if you can hear it. Oh, it's shaking. It's misfiring big time. Let's hook the scanner up and see what we got. Now, while the scanner's loading up, the check engine light was flashing. Now it's not flashing. The misfire, oh, there it goes again. Usually flashing means it's got a current misfire that's happening, and it's flashing because damage to the catalytic converter could be happening. So they do that purposely. They make the check engine light flash because it more than likely will alert the driver to, hey, I really got a bad problem going on, because they don't like to see a flashing light. But there again, you see it stopped. It's like on a timer or something. So it must have a severe enough problem that it's doing that. Okay. This thing's also got 172,000 miles on it. Let's do a code scan. Yeah, okay, engine is off, whatever. It's really not going to affect it. Sometimes where it says engine off, oh, look at that, transmission, no codes, but engines, we have codes. But a lot of times, what the heck was I saying? Shoot, I forgot what I was saying. Getting old. I had to watch back on the video because I forgot what I was talking about there. But what I was going to say is, where it says key on, engine off, on some cars you can actually go through and start to scan, and for some reason it'll actually stall out the motor. Whatever the computer is doing, it'll stall out the motor. But anyway, let's see what codes we have here. O2 signal stuck rich. Multi-cylinder misfire, cylinder number 4, cylinder number 2, cylinder number 3. Those are all. See, cylinder 4 is a current code. 2 and 3 are history codes. All right. So now I don't care about other codes. It's got an airbag light on. Driver's airbag resistance too high. First stage. That could be a connection problem, but she's not complaining of that, so we're not concerned about that right now. Let me go back and go to engine. Go to data, see if there's anything in data for misfires. Misfire, yep. Alright, let's see what we can find here, if anything. Alright, so cylinder 4 was misfiring. It's not misfiring right now. Let's go around the block with this thing. See, I'm sorry, I wasn't on it, but anyway. It's showing no misfires currently, but if you come down, total counter, well, that's actually climbing. So why is this misfire current and that's a counter and it's not showing anything current? That's weird. All right, well, let's leave it in that position. This way I can see 4 on both ends. So let's take this thing around the block real quick and let's see what it does. I can't even make it out of the driveway. It's running so bad. Cylinder 4 is just not even contributing right now. It's funny because under current it doesn't show anything. And the other, the total, is really not even increasing at the moment. But I'm like, I have no throttle, so I don't know if that's done on purpose. Let me pull this thing in and let me pull the plugs out and take a look at them and see what's going on. So this is the KIA GDI motor. Let me just do something here. Supposedly somebody put coils on it. I don't know how long ago they put coils on it, because that's not new. That's old. It doesn't look like anybody's been in here. At least not in a while. I mean, everything's all dirty. Usually you would see fingerprints. Let me see. Here, for example. See how clean it is just from me touching it? See that? Nobody's been in here. So I don't know what she's talking about with having somebody do work on this. One thing I do see, now not that it's a problem, but I see a funnel there with a rag. So obviously they're checking their oil, they're adding oil. So, But yeah, 170,000 miles. Yeah, this thing's going to use some oil. Every single engine out there uses oil. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you tell me. I'm going to get people that say, oh, my Nissan doesn't use any oil. My Honda doesn't use any oil. My Chevy doesn't use any oil. Yes, it does. Every engine uses oil. So, and these things only hold three and a quarter quart is what these things hold, if I'm not mistaken, these 1.6s. 3 1/4 quarts. That's nothing. Think about that. You lose a quart, you lost a third of the capacity. That's a lot. Sorry about that. Mo decided to start using a leaf blower in the middle of me making that video. Anyway, so if you think about it, if you lose a quart of oil on a vehicle that only holds 3 1/4 quart, you just lost a third of the capacity. That's substantial. And the more oil the further you're down on oil, the faster it uses it. And like I said, every engine uses oil. I don't care what you tell me. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull the coils out, and I'm going to check the plugs and stuff like that. This could just be shot spark plugs. I don't know. That she said that she had coils changed. Not in the last year, I'll tell you that. So, all right, let's start getting this apart and see what we got. All right, so if you look close, somebody's marked these coils. So that was obviously cylinder 4. That was cylinder 1. This one has no markings on it. And that one has no markings on it. And they're all KIA coils. So, yeah, Hyundai KIA coils. They're all Hyundai KIA coils. So I don't even think that one was changed. Now, I pulled out cylinder number 4 spark plug. And here, look at this. The porcelain's broken on that. I mean, look how nasty that spark plug is. Why would you just swap coils when you have spark plugs that look like this? That's just horrendous. Let me pull the rest of the spark plugs out and see what they look like. I'm going to get coils and plugs on their way. I wonder if this thing was in limp mode. That's why it had no throttle response. But I'm going to get plugs and at least one coil on its way. But I'm going to see if I can get a set of 4 if anybody has a set. Alright, so I got the rest of the plugs out. And let's see if we can focus in on that. Look at that. I mean, the porcelain's just destroyed on these things. I mean, these plugs are just shot. Plus, that's pre-ignition usually breaks the insulation like that. But usually it'll wipe out the grounding strap. And these are white ashen, so these were like running very hot and very lean. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know. That's some oil on there too. But it's like the oil's baked onto it. But every single one, the porcelain's broken on the electrode end. That's just amazing. So, I mean, it looks almost like at the base here. See that little piece there? I don't know. I got a set of plugs on their way. Nobody has a set of 4 coils. But I did find 1 coil for now, and I can have 3 more later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in all 4 plugs and 1 coil, and I'm going to see how this thing runs. The other thing too is the connector for that number 4 coil, the latching mechanism is broken. So as soon as I grabbed it to go disconnect it, it fell right off. So I'm going to have to do something like zip tie it in place to make sure that the connector doesn't fall off. The other ones seem to be okay. So like I said, obviously somebody's been chasing a problem on this at some point, but it wasn't recently. But even still, these plugs are not They're not the originals, at least I don't think. I mean, it could be. I don't think they are. But, I mean, they're just wiped out. So, all right, let's get a set of plugs in this and one coil, and let's see what happens. Now, one thing important I wanted to point out when replacing spark plugs, especially iridium, platinum, whatever, tipped spark plugs, do not gap them with a gapper. The traditional old school style gapper. You will destroy the plug. And I was just thinking about it. Somebody could have gapped those spark plugs at some point with a traditional gapper, and that's what caused all this problem. Let me explain real quick. So here we have a traditional gapper, and we have the new spark plug. It's an iridium spark plug. If you take the gapper, you could place it inside like this to check the gap. Do not use it to set the gap. If you set the gap with this, you can actually destroy the iridium or platinum tip. You don't want to do that. Technically, if you get one and the gap is closed up, replace the spark plug. Seriously. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. Look it up on a spark plug manufacturer's website. They'll tell you the same thing. If the gap is closed up, replace the spark plug. Don't try gapping it unless you have some way of actually opening up the grounding tab away from the electrode to make it so you have the correct gap without touching the tip of the electrode or the tip of the grounding strap. That's using this type of a gapper where you go in between there and it's a friction fit and you force it open. That's what will destroy it. Old school spark plugs, no problem. Platinum tipped or iridium tipped, whatever, that's a problem. You can't gap them like this with a friction style gapper. Anyway, like I said, that could have created a lot of this problem, believe it or not, because what happens is it wipes away that little material that's in between there, and while that material can take, you know, the high pressures from the combustion process and everything else, and the high heats and everything else, it can't take getting scraped by a friction scraper, a friction gapper, I mean. So just something to keep in mind. So now I'm going to put these plugs in. I just verified the gap. That's all I did. Now I'm going to put everything back together. All right, so I just took it up the road. It actually runs 1,000,000 times better. It's got like a little bit of a detonation ping to it, but I got a funny feeling that it may have carbon buildup on top of the pistons. But I mean, it's idling right now. I got no misfire showing up on the scanner, no current, no total either. So let me show you. And once I took it up the road and blew it out, it was fine. And it's idling now. I didn't clear a check engine light or anything. I didn't want to clear any information out of it. But it's idling absolutely perfect. But like I said, when I went up the road, it ran good. I had some detonation. Unfortunately, everything's very foggy around here, so I couldn't tell if I had any like smoke coming out of the tailpipe or anything. But I think what I might do is I might bring this back to the shop and see. This is direct injected, so you can't really do like an injection cleaning on it. At least I don't have the equipment for it. But I think I just might romp it around a little bit, really, you know, get into it and see if maybe that'll help clear up. Because like I said, I think I got carbon buildup on top of the pistons. But yeah, so I'm going to leave this at this for right now. That's going to be this video. All right. So hopefully you got something out of that. You learned something about spark plugs today. But yeah, that's about it. So yeah, I guess if you're getting something out of my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. That's about it for right now. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.